Anyway, we're going into the auditorium. Looks like they were still getting set up in there. I spotted Nasa, who was leaning against the wall, tapping away at his phone. Hey, Nasa. Hey, Inko. The concert will start soon. I just got a message from Fancy. He turned his phone to me and I skimmed the messages. It's the same as ever. It's always the same. I get it. I get it. You're very proud of the fact that they did a little art for this. They seem pleasant. FWR? Franklin W. Roosevelt? Fucking retard. I don't know why, but every single person in the fandom just loves it and they always repeat it. They never think of something for themselves. They just always go with this one and I don't know why. It's like they'll change everything except this one insult. I've been reading the same one for the last 12 fics add-on, please! Is your sibling always like that? Things, yeah, I mean, kinda. I don't think that's something a sibling should call another sibling. I mean, yeah, but they're family, but they can always be so, difficult? Yeah, difficult. And I have no idea why. I give him a pat on the shoulder. Pat-pats! Sorry to hear, Nasa. Yeah, like, I know that they care, but Fang doesn't even want to be around me. My frown doesn't get any better at that. The doors were finally opened by the large man, and the crowd at the building that had been building began Jesus to file into the auditorium. I could immediately smell the telltale sign of some quality pizzas. Quality. What the hell is this? Huh? What am I looking at? I need to close this. This is making me go nuts. Sweet. Come on, Inko. Nasser entered the auditorium, and I went to follow suit, but got stopped just before crossing the threshold by a large caveman of a human, his massive hand easily blocking my progress. I gave him a questioning look, and he gestured me to follow him off to the side slightly. Then the rest of the crowd filed in. How are you feeling about her lovely schooling, girl? The well-dressed hulk of a human man carried a stern expression, but his voice was a neutral one. He sported a clean, sharp grey suit that screamed faculty. His so chiseled a stone face was framed by long, straight black hair, and his eyes were covered by sleek glasses that always seemed to catch the light, so the glare blocked my ability to see his eyes. I like this more than when NTS tried to pull this shit. On his chest was a pin shaped like a spear that read Principal. Principal's biz it is. Pretty good, I think. Nasser and Naomi have been really helpful. Most of my class have been pretty engaging. I feel like this new year is off to a good start, I said with a smile. A smile that he returned with a small but gentle one of his own. I'm pleased to hear that. Now go on and enjoy the show. Yes, sir. It was a bit intimidating, but he seemed nice. I entered the auditorium to find Nasser in the back by a mountain of pizza boxes. What the hell's going on? Why aren't you... There you go. Take as much as you want. It's on the house. Wow, the school paid for all this? His smile faltered slightly. No, I meant me. I got the pizzas. Oh, cool, man. Cool, thanks. I'm sure everyone here appreciates the gesture. It's only proper to thank him if he personally went out of his way to set all this up. Fortunately, that seemed to pick up his mood once more. Hey, no problem at all. It's easier to get people to attend a concert when there's free food, right? I suppose so. I'll have to spot you next time as thanks. Nasa was clearly surprised by the offer. No, don't worry about it. You'll change the plot. We're sticking to the script. What are you talking about? Listen. I know that we're writing a fic that's explicitly about crossing over characters, but we're doing things the way they go in the original. I'm not poor, Nasa. How am I supposed to hook up with Trish? She'll never trust me. Just spend all your money. Don't worry. Mostly for Fang's sake, you know? One good turn deserves another. I countered back. After a moment's pause, he simply shrugged and smiled. Fair enough, I guess. Anyways, let me go check on the band. They should be ready to go soon. He quickly departed and moved towards the back of the stage, slipping behind the curtains. I grabbed one of the complimentary plates and a few slices of pizza. Dino Mo's Pizza. Must be a local place. I haven't heard of it before. The smell, immediately followed thereafter by the flavor, were great. Even figuring it was less fresh by virtue of being delivery, the flavors are it's a fucking pizza, man! And the toppings were plentiful. I made myself a mental note to check out the place in person at some point. I took a seat not too far from the main table in the back, waiting for Nasser. If I moved too far, he may not be able to find me once the show started. Man, this is gonna be another shit show. Huh? She's so stupid, I swear to rap to Jesus, how embarrassing. I could hear various murmurs from the crowd as they settled into their seats. My eyes moved from person to person, as far as I could tell. Why did I even bother?
Bunch of losers!
Not a single person in attendance had anything nice to say about the upcoming performance. What about you, Inko? I flexively winced at the mockery of the band that hadn't even begun to play yet. This did not bode well. If they didn't want to be here, why did they even show up? For the free food? Then why not just take a slice and bail? Did they not want to upset Nasser? Nasser finally returned, finding me where he left me. So, what's with everyone here? Huh? What do you mean? Like everyone is saying some pretty mean stuff about the band. What? Nasser's beak contorts into a fierce scowl as his eyes scan the room. His ears clearly... He doesn't have ears. Clearly picking up the same mocking mutterings I had heard. His hands began to shake and futilely grasp at the air as he tried to process the turn of events. Eventually, he settled on rage. His fist slammed onto the table, sending several pizza boxes to the floor. How did that happen anyway? Like, pizzas are pretty heavy and the boxes have a low center of mass. After a moment, he pulled his hand away from the table and a scowl faded. He deflated completely. Should have known. Should have known what, Nasser? I invited everyone here so Fang would have an actual audience. Oh. Oh! Well-intentioned move that apparently invited everyone that didn't like the band. It really sucked. Before I could say anything else, however, Nasser's phone rang. He stepped a few feet away from me and answered it. Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was a low quality of the phone, or if the caller, who was obviously Fang, was just devolved into nonsensical shouts, but I couldn't make anything out. Nasser held his phone away from his ear to save his hearing, as the round continued for a few more seconds longer. Okay, Unfortunately, whatever he was going to say was irrelevant, as the call immediately ended. A heartbeat later, Nasser let out a sigh, and his whole body seemed to droop. He walked back a few steps over to me to re-engage in our previous conversation. I gotta leave. What? Seriously? Why are we doing this? Yeah, Fang doesn't want me here. Said I ruined the show. What? You organized all this for them, though? You bought pizza, the audience. I mean, yeah, though a lot of them sound like jerks, but that doesn't mean that without you. But that doesn't mean that without you, no one. So many negatives. But doesn't that mean that without you, no one would be here at all? He shook his head, dismissing the question. Look, Inko, the author isn't smart enough to actually write an alternative script when things don't happen the way they're supposed to, so I'm sorry to tell you, buddy, we're sticking. What do you mean? Look, Inko, whatever happens, just promise me you won't hold it against them. They're actually a nice person once you get to know them. Wasn't really convinced. Even though you're getting kicked out for helping? And for calling you a fucked wing retard? Nasser was a cool guy. I could deal with the audience thing seeming like it may have been a backfire, but calling your own brother something that personal and messed up? I took a look at this scarred wings behind him. The single scarred wing. I don't think the other one is. Asking me to hand-wave that away was a tall order. The clatter of one of the small tables draws our attention, and before breaking my questioning streak, and then I noticed that the auditorium, which normally had even rows of seats to focus on the stage, had been rearranged so there were around various small tables. A thoughtful gesture so that the audience could enjoy the pizza more easily while they enjoyed the show. I tilted my head reflexively. For what? What's wrong? Yeah, he even went through trouble switching out the seats for them. I only said it would help. The half Nasser turned away, begrudgingly leaving the auditorium. Wouldn't it be neat if the whole show started? Because, like, Inko is delaying him, the show started before Nasser left? Just a small twist. I'm just saying. I wanted to ditch the show and follow him, but he'd gone through all the effort to set this up for his sibling. It felt rude, and it felt like it'd be rude not just to Fang, but also to Nasser. For me. To cast his hard work off like that. I let out a half of my own and slid back into the chair and returned to munching on one of my slices of pizza. Only helped improve my mood a little. Inko stands up, who has been hiding the fact that he's Dragonborn, and a single shot, stop being mean, and all the meanie heads are hacked all the way. Begone, foul meanie heads! A moment later, the lights dimmed and the curtains drew. On stage was a trio of dinos my age. Given the context clues that Nasser is a Taro, given the context clues that Nasser's and his slips of language on the pronoun front, I would have guessed the female at the front of the group's center stage was Fang, same monochromatic individual I saw this morning. At Fang's flank was a same short purple and a salmon colored as well. So they were in a band together. They'll hold their dramatic pose under the lights for a long moment. I couldn't tell if it was for dramatic flair, they were just trying to psych themselves up. You mean they hyped themselves up? If the crowd was an unexpected gift from NASA, then performing in front of a bunch of people you didn't know would be pretty scary. Something tickled in my brain, and I quickly pried open my bag and pulled out my camera. A quick flip of the mode and adjusting the f-stops to account for the dim lighting, and I snapped my picture. Fang may have been rude to NASA, but my artist's brain couldn't help but admire the almost Renaissance-esque composition of the musical trio raved in lights. In fact, haloed from the bright lighting above, their feathers outstretched. One could almost say that Fang looked downright angelic. The two guitars and drums implied it wasn't to be heavenly harps for their discography, but I suddenly feel a sense of intrigue. Fang may be rude, but I kinda want to see what kind of music they can put out. Maybe they were just playing up the stereotypical rocker diva archetype? The band, having given a long enough moment to settle in, didn't bother introducing themselves at all. Instead, the purple immediately began to strum at the guitar strings, which, given the tone, was a bass. The solo entrance of a heavy bass line told me there was probably going to be some sort of rock or grunge kind of deal. Not my favorite kind of music, but it would still be enjoyable. The leading completed, Fang's arm raised in unison with the drummer, and they started the components of the song next. And, oh god, it sounded really bad. I could make out the drummer's hits, which sounded fairly good, but Fang's own guitar sounded incredibly deep too. The second was fighting with the... What did they... Did they make a mistake? Was this intentional? Was this some kind of avant-garde display of postmodernist music? Fang then launched into lyrics which were loud and screamy. Definitely punk grunge vibes if I was getting my music genres right in any capacity. And the lyrics were, definitely something. What is this about putting rat poison in the special kids' Kool-Aid? What the hell? This reads like edge for edginess' sake. Maybe I was on the money about it being some kind of performance art rather than a real band. As they entered into the chorus, there was a pause in the singing, long enough for one of the audience members to cut in through the noise. They still suck! They were doubled over in laughter, slapping the table next to them. With a break in the lyrics and an interruption from that student, the band members ceased and the song ground to a halt. The instant it did, the rest of the audience joined in. Music is great. For a try not to cringe channel. Oh yeah, the future of music.
Try not making a shitty emo rock band in 201,000,000 2020.
Just remove the N already. And on it went. The longer it went, the louder it got. As it built up in fervor, the audience started standing and cupping their hands to their faces to project their mockery that little bit louder. On the stage, the band was in the process of falling apart. The drummer had risen from his seat and was beginning to scoot towards stage left. The purple bassist was hugging her guitar close to her, looking to be on the verge of tears. Hold on, we need to... I'm just gonna turn on the song, and I'm not even gonna care if it's the right one or not. Actually, I do. This is the one. There we go. Only Fang stood there, her amber eyes... Anon, Inco, pronouns! Their amber eyes glowing with fire under the spotlights. Fuck you! They yelled. They tossed their bass to the side completely, raising both hands and proudly displaying the middle fingers from each. Fuck all of you! Fang clearly had a fairly volatile personality, but I could accept that kind of response. Where the audience was reacting was, no one will wanna fuck you, bitch! God damn! That one looked like it slapped Fang directly across their face. The defiant rage melted away instantly into a look of shame and agony. Clearly egged on by that response, the crowd redoubled their mockery. I could only watch as Fang swept her bass off the deck and grabbed the arm of the purple one. Immediately they strode off stage where the drummer was waiting. An instant later, they disappeared. I felt sick. My initial impression of Fang was that they were ungrateful, unpleasant, and rude, most especially to Nasser. I Couldn't tell what the hell the deal was with the band, but that was despicable behavior from my fellow students. Is this what people are really like here at Volcano High? My appetite was thoroughly dead at this point from second-hand embarrassment and shame. I may not have said anything, but I was party to it. Grabbed my plate and tossed the half-eaten pizza into the trash can nearby. The audience had mostly stopped actively yelling insults, and I was just laughing and talking among themselves. I moved towards the exit and was immediately blocked by the humanoid, Principal Spears. Gave me a long, hard, cold stare before finally speaking. I don't want to hear about this tomorrow. No, sir. The Homo sapiens' neutral expression gave way to a deep frown as his gaze shifted to the audience who was slowly winding down on their thumb. Everyone is fighting their own battles. It's tragic to me that the students cannot see that. I like it, because Inko doesn't need to be fucking told this. This is not a lesson Inko has to learn. If anything, you should be on the other side, right? If he's one of those Redditors, you'd be all about the pronoun shit. You know, should already be on that team. He returned his focus to me and gave me a curt nod, dismissing me. Me followed his non-verbal instruction and slipped past him through the doorway. As the door closed behind me, his voice easily cut through the audience's noise in the auditorium door, so me could hear him. Something about suplexing someone's sorry ass. Me knew it wasn't directed at me, but me felt an instinctual urge to get out of it quickly. As I traversed home, me had finally calmed down enough to think about how today had gone. The setting sun and cool air gave a fitting, somber melancholy to match my mood. You mean me mood? Naomi and Nasa have been pretty cool. Both seemed friendly. Maybe we were even actually already friends? Naomi was crazy helpful at making me feel at home at school for my first day, which I definitely appreciated. And Nasa clearly went out of his way to help people too. The classes were totally fine, English aside, and the lunch was good. As far as the first day went, it could have easily been my best day ever if not for that final part of the whole thing. I was used to school days at my old school having various levels of loneliness and disappointment, but seeing the way my fellow students acted towards that band, yeah, they weren't good or anything, but Rap G! They probably just need more practice. Seeing that kind of behavior was making me reconsider if I could even befriend anyone other than Naomi or Nasa. Oh, so is that how we're going to justify him not befriending anyone else? He might also be serial killer. Nico gets cancelled for listening to Eminem. I reached my new home and gave a curt, hopefully pleasant nod to the greeter before entering the lobby and made my way to the elevator where the ride took me to the top floor. Finding my door, I unlocked it and slipped inside. Apartment. I like how we're taking... Why are we taking the time now? Do this the next chapter. The next chapter, please. End it. You just had a good moment. Fucking end it so we can end on a high note. Ah! Why are we... There's a reason this happens in chapter 2 in Wani. Ugh. Also, we're kind of repeating the same thing over and over again. Let some things happen. Let some time pass. Yeah. So yeah, chapter 1. I gotta be honest, we're starting off a little rough. Shall we try to do chapter 2 as well? I'm a little worried this is gonna be one of those slow starters. Do. The sun is shining in my eyes. Anyway. Read Caveman Flow. It's a fun read Snoot fic. Sure, I'll give it a Google search. First, the comments. It's the start of something great. I mean, it's like a single page long. Just defaulting to Inco would not be able to get in good grist with the trio seems like a lazy way to go about it. Fair enough. One of the biggest conflicts was that Engel was a redneck troll that never really opened up to the rest of the band until it was too late. Whereas Inco's more normal and was talking about himself, so that's 99% of Trish's rivalry gone right off the bat. If anything, the big danger is that he gets to be liked too much, especially if he likes to show off. So Trish might just end up bossing him around like she does with Fang and land all the money he won. That's an interesting idea, actually. I kind of do like that idea that like there's a whole separate flaw going on. Burr, burr, burr. Well, okay, let's find this fic I was just told exists. Caveman Flow.